So today I'm here to tell you about Coffee House's journey to becoming B Corp and some of the things that we went through and thought about during the very early stages of our journey. So Coffee House, we are only 2 years old. We are relatively new to the industry, relatively new as a company, but we're growing quite quickly. So in the last 2 years, we've gone from just being a 2-person team to having over 21 people and being at the 1 million run rate. So it's been really rapid, accelerated growth. We're adding about 1 person a week to our team, and the company is drastically transforming and becoming more and more mature every single week. It's incredible to be a part of, but also requires some tough and some challenging decisions. So obviously, with this fast-paced growth, we need to make decisions on a daily basis. This research shows that the average person makes over 35,000 decisions every single day. I probably make 60, 70,000 decisions every day. So there was a point where I kind of asked myself, what if these decisions were ethical and ultimately benefited the world? So what if I was aware of the ethical impact of every decision that I made for Coffee House? And what if I could use that decision making that I was doing on a daily basis already for the greater good? So far too often, I think that we make decisions without considering those ethical factors. So a lot of things that I did very early on in the company, I didn't know were unethical or, were problematic. So for example, when you set up a company, your company is automatically set up by default to consider shareholder only rather than all stakeholders. But when you put it to somebody like that, like, would you rather consider only the shareholders and the profit earners, or would you rather consider everybody who is going to be impacted by this? Why would you not? Why would you not consider all the stakeholders? It's a natural choice when you know these things. We originally set up our bank account with HSBC too, and that is massively problematic for B Corp, but that's because HSBC has one of the largest gender pay gaps. They enable oil drilling in the Amazon. They've participated in funding some really negative events that if you knew about, if you had done research into, you probably wouldn't bank with them. The situations that I'm pointing out today all come from ethical consumer. So ethical consumer helps people understand the ethics behind some of the decisions that you make. And that's one of the beauties of B Corp for me, is that it's about understanding the decisions that I'm making as a business and how that can have an impact on my team, on the greater world, on our society, our community, and also, of course, environmentally as well. So I've always kind of operated with this motto of happy team, happy clients. So our culture, before we even set about going through B Corp, was already geared towards creating a really positive work environment. So this included things like only hiring permanent team members and having a diverse team, or investing in employees' learning and development. Because we have an in-house team, we really heavily invest in their development. Our copywriters go through training every other week. They're constantly learning, they're constantly growing, they're constantly developing. We promote within the company. We actually just announced one of our employees' promotions today, which is so exciting. We provide more than just statutory holidays and allow for flexible working so that people can have a life that fits their personal as well as their social and their professional lives all together. We don't have an office, so we have very little environmental impact. We do everything online, and everything is done with as much environmental focus as possible. I mean, when we did our last customer surveys, we planted trees for everybody who completed the survey. So long before we started to think about B Corp, we were already doing a lot of these things. We are already promoting and developing and cultivating a really positive place to work. So we made the decision in about May that we were going to go through the B Corp process, and that, I saw it as a journey. It was not we're going to do this tick box exercise and get the certificate. It was more about the journey to becoming B Corp, more about making decisions and making sure that the decisions that I made every day were ethical. So as a young company, a lot of the things we had done up until that point weren't formalized. They were just things that we had done. So they didn't have clear policies. They didn't have the foundation and the framework around them to make it really clear what was actually happening or being on offer. Things have been done really casually and informally. So one of the first things that we did on our B Corp journey was to put some policies in place to really think about everything that goes on within Coffee House and how we could define this and make this clear for our team. Very early on in the process as well, we got the wider team on board. So we shared our vision with the team and got everybody really excited about our mission to becoming B Corp. We also started to look locally and started to identify ways that we could support people within the creative industry. So we've already started collaborating with Winchester Creatives, which is a really great nonprofit that helps young people in Winchester get into the creative industry. And we're collaborating with SmartWorks as well, which helps women get back into the workplace after a work gap. So we're constantly looking for ways that we can support our local community and also make sure that everything that we do aligns with this mission to become ethical. So we have a lot that we still need to do because we're still very early in the journey. One of the big tasks that we're currently undertaking is changing our bank account, so switching away from an unethical bank account and switching towards a more ethical one. We're partnering with On Hand, which is an app that allows our staff to support causes they believe in. We're participating in the government-funded Kickstarter scheme. We've launched our own Kickstarter scheme as well, where applicants, graduates can apply and secure a 10-week spot on our SEO course, with the top applicant from that getting a 6-month paid internship at Coffee House. So we're constantly looking for ways to continue what we're doing, continue supporting our local UK and global initiatives for reviewing our supply chain to ensure we're working with like-minded stakeholders and formalizing all the really great stuff that we were doing before so that we can confidently go forward and continue to progress, continue to develop, and eventually, one day reach B Corp status. So we're really early in the journey, so I think I can provide some pretty great advice for people who are starting to think about starting this. What I would say is see it as a journey rather than a rush through. It's quite a big process. So rather than trying to get it all done at once, see it as your journey. You're going on this really cool, really interesting mission to become an ethical brand. And it's going to take time, and it's about constant initiatives, constant iterations, so that you constantly are developing and becoming a better and better and better company. So enjoy the ride. I also think it's really important to bring your team along with you. You need your team. You need your team in almost everything you do. And this is going to be another one of those areas where you're going to need them. You're going to need their support, their ideas, their feedback. You're going to need to find a way to cultivate that, whether it's with an online platform or constant discussions or steering groups. You need to find a way to bring them along with you. I think good leaders are naturally good at bringing your team with you on whatever journey you're embarking on getting them excited and, really making sure that they want to come with you. And third, and perhaps least, give yourself plenty of time. Make sure that you aren't just rushing through. You don't just see it as a tick box, and that you're doing it for all the right reasons.